Greetings, 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 ladies. Listen, it is that time of the year. It is nice and crisp outside, so I hope all of you are keeping warm. I am Coach Ivy with the Inspire Her Network, and we are excited to have our conversation here at the end of the year. And so, again, I'm Coach Ivy, and as I always say, as I always straddle the fence a little bit, listen, don't judge me. Judge your cousin. Come on in, Davita.
Greetings, everyone. I am Davita Foushee. Hey.
I'm Melonie. He's not through with me yet.
Hey, it's Lady D checking in.
And this is Crystal, and welcome to Her Voice. For this segment, you know the new year is upon us, and normally you hear New Year, New Me. Most commonly, we go into the New Year setting, New Year resolutions, mostly physical and financial. But for a deeper dive tonight, we're going to set some spiritual goals for 2024. Let's start out with the definition of goals. Melonie, can you give us that definition, please?
Sure can. When I was looking, I found the object of a person's ambition or effort, aims or desired results.
That's good stuff. So, listen, you talked about effort. That word stuck out to me. And you talked about desired results. So we got to hit on that, right? As we establish our goals are based upon our desires, aka what we want to do, right? But, you know, we're an intentional crew. So we really want to talk about the results piece of this and how we are going to truly establish and meet our goals and have actual results, tangible results in 2024. What Davita say? Davita say, I want more in 2024. Right? So what are we doing? So let's talk about some tips. Can you all share, ladies? You all have accomplished goals. You're all accomplished women, distinguished, might I add. Please share some tips in terms of how you yourself are results-oriented individuals. Let's talk about it. Let's chop this up.
I love how you put that in song there, Coach Ivy. That was beautiful. But that is the goal, right? Definitely more in 2024. So when any of us, we've been through school, we've been through any type of educational background, when they talk about goals, they talk about SMART goals. They have to be specific, measurable. They have to have a certain time frame. Those to me are the building blocks when it comes to goals. But one thing that definitely sticks into my mind when I want to accomplish something is strategy, a plan, right? I believe we all heard if you fail to plan, then plan to fail, right?
Come on.
So that's something that it has to be concrete every time. Anytime you set a goal, whether it's small or in the next month or in 5 years, there has to be a plan. There has to be that effort piece, right? To get that desired result. Put it on paper, see it, look at it, meditate over it. That to me, those are just a couple of tips that I have, because if you can see it, you can believe in it, right? And if you keep believing in it, eventually it'll come to pass. You can manifest it. So those are just a few tips that I have.
Some good ones too. Yeah, what else you got?
One of my tips is always make your why greater than your excuses. We always have these goals we want, but then we have a bunch of excuses, and I am number one to find 100 excuses why I can't do something. So I always say, make your why greater. Why are you doing this? Why do you want this to happen? Why do you obtain this goal? So I always make that why greater. That's my biggest pet peeve for me, because I can find an excuse. If it's out there, I can find it. So for me, it's always, make your why greater than your excuses.
Right, that motivator, right? Most time my biggest why is my family and my kids. So I gotta look at those beautiful faces every day, right? So that keeps me moving, it keeps me going. Thank you for that.
Definitely agree with that, ladies. This year right here, it actually feels a little bit different. I don't know about you all, but it just really feels like there are going to be some big things taking place in 2024, and I am taking my goal setting like so seriously this year. One of the things that I am implementing this year is like a periodic review throughout the year. So like whenever you set your goals at the beginning of the year, maybe every quarter, every month, depending on what you have going on, to actually go in and look at your plan, where you started versus where you are at a certain point in the year, and see how well, or maybe, if there are some things that you need to change, how are you doing with the plan that you implemented at the beginning of the year? So that's one thing that I'm doing, just to kind of see if I need to maybe make adjustments to that plan, tweak the plan a little bit to get a better result. So hopefully that is something that assists me in just trying to achieve goals in 2024.
I like that too. Especially when you say to kind of do an evaluation, just to kind of see where you are with the goals. A lot of times we set these goals and we wait until if we give ourselves, say, 6 months, we don't do no type of evaluation or, anything in between. We wait till we get to the end and then say, oh, well, I guess I just didn't make it through or whatever. And sometimes we know we didn't make it through. We just stop along the way. So I really, really like that. One of the things that I want to do is I want to spend more time in the Word, and that's for reading, just so that I can have better comprehension and, just a better overall understanding of what I'm reading and what it pertains to. I've always read bits and pieces of the Bible or stories, but never the whole from beginning to end. And reading from beginning to end is not very comprehensible, if you ask me, because the way the Bible is broken up. But that's why I said just to read it and really dissect it and get an understanding, and so that once I do understand, I can really apply it to my life.
Application.
Yes.
Application. So our ability to actually apply, right? Even if it's the plan, apply, right?
Yeah. You can't apply, don't understand it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And be intentional.
Oh, be intentional in 2024. Come on.
Another thing that I was thinking about as far as goal setting for 2024 is getting an accountability partner. I've never had one in the past, but I think it might be a good tool to implement, because it gives you something. If you have to look forward to having to tell somebody, okay, I met this goal or I didn't do what I was supposed to do, it may motivate or inspire you to actually be a little bit more diligent in your follow through. What do you all think?
I agree. I definitely do. We give ourselves, I feel like, a lot of grace and a lot of leeway when we don't follow through. But from report to somebody else, that's a scenario, and I think you saying that will help us to work that much harder at really attaining these goals that we're setting.
Yeah. And with that accountability piece, I think also an award.
Yeah.
We are little kids at heart, and we want something at the end of this walk.
That's good.
So when you finish that goal, have like a little, and if you have like a big goal and you break it down to attainable goals, then at each milestone, have you some type of reward. Yeah. So that's my things I do too.
That's good. You brought up another great word, attainable.
Good
right,
word.
Davita? Come on, Davita.
Yeah.
I mean, attainable. That goes back to the SMART goal methodology, right? Attainable goals. Come on, y'all. We putting these huge goals on our vision boards, man. Come on. And you already defeated just looking at it. And what they're called to is they're called objectives, right? And so when you have a goal, then you have objectives under each goal. And those objectives turn into like your task list, if you will. And I like how Melonie talked about you rewarding yourself at the end of, at the end of each task. Why not? Okay, now I'm gonna give myself, now listen, I worked on this. So now I'm going to take myself on a little date. I'm going to go get me something good to eat, right? Or whatever the case may be, right? Or I'm going to I worked on my discipline this week and I didn't watch any TV. So on Saturday, I'm going to reward myself with 1 hour. You know, I mean, and I know that's pretty strenuous, right? Some people probably throwing tomatoes at me already, but that actually is a realistic spiritual goal. You know, goes back to guarding our ear gates, right? Guarding our eye gates.
That sounds really good. I think a lot of times we be so caught up in overall, so that celebrating the small successes is definitely good. And I think, and so, and like you said, it doesn't have to be monetary. It doesn't have to be anything big, but just putting a label on the fact that you've accomplished at least that much of the big goal. If you break that big goal down into several small goals, celebrate meeting those checkpoints, and then it makes that big goal that much more attainable.
It's good stuff.
I really love that because, I think that sometimes whenever we start setting goals and we start actually going through the process, that doing step, that taking action step, and then life just begins to happen. It's really important that as we go through the year, we just kind of give ourselves some grace and understand that if we get off track, that's okay. We should probably go ahead and expect to get off track because it will happen, but don't allow that to make you stay off track.
That's
you
right.
You might get deterred, you might get sidetracked, you might get knocked back a couple of times along the way, but always take that next step. And maybe that's really good for an accountability partner at that point, right? To say, okay, well, you had a little hiccup, but let's get back on track so that we can at least finish the year strong.
Come on, Coach D, put me in, Coach. Listen, I want to play on your team. You know how to motivate us.
It stops you from becoming stagnated,
Yeah.
Eat sometime and be enough to make you want to stop and just give up. So yes, that sounds really good. I like that.
And here's the thing too about what Deona said is we have to be realistic, right? Like I think a lot of times we're defeated or we don't accomplish our goals or meet our results simply because we went into it not being realistic that we were going to have hiccups, that we were going to have setbacks, trials and tribulations, right? And so when we think of these this new year and our resolutions and again our vision boards, like we're going into it, we hype, we lit, and I think it's harder to knock us down and defeat us when we prepared for you. We're gonna stay ready, enemy. We're gonna stay ready because we know you're coming. Especially when those goals are bigger than anything that you yourself can do in your own flesh. The enemy coming for you. So like I always say, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So I like how Deona said, knowing that that's going to happen and giving yourself that grace throughout the year as well. Awesome tips. Awesome. Anything else before we dive into our next thought?
Yeah, I will say, and that also just brings up a very valid point of be prepared to have hit and misses and those little hiccups along the way. And if you see that you're to a point to where you're not having any hiccups or anything, then maybe you need to reevaluate your goals, because goals are for you to work on things to make you better. And if you just breathe through the process, are you really learning or gaining anything?
Are you being challenged?
Yeah, you can't go without the challenges. You have to go through those challenging phases.
It's good. I'm digging it. I'm being inspired. Love it.
Speaking of learning and growing, Crystal, I really do feel like, at least for me, 2023 has really just been a year of just growth and development. When God has just been working on me just all year long. And as I mentioned before, I really do feel like as we go into 2024, this new year feels different. It feels, there's a lot of anticipation, but it just feels like God has so many great things in store for us as we continue to go forward. And I've heard several messages just from different pastors and teachers just about how 2024, Coach even said it is the year of manifestation, the year of progress. I heard someone say that it's time to shine now in 2024 for the people of God. So as we get ready to go into 2024, one of the things that I know I will be focusing on from a spiritual perspective is just being able to hear and discern the voice of God more, because I feel like I was really able, through the grace of God, to strengthen my relationship and my knowledge of the things of God in 2023. So now I really want to be able to just hear from him and not always second guess myself about am I hearing from God, or is that just me? Is this a God thought, or is it just a good thought, or is it really a God thought? As we get ready to go into the new year, what are some of your spiritual goals for 2024?
You saying that actually brings to my other goal, which was to look to hear from God more. And that's for me making decisions. And you said that so well, because you get to a point, and as you're growing, whether it be spiritual or in any aspect, you have thoughts, and sometimes you just don't know, are they your thoughts? Are they God's thoughts? Is that him speaking to you, or is this just something that you heard that inspired this thought? So I really want to get to a point to where I'm looking to hear from God and making sure that I know that it's from him before I make decisions going forward. Because I know if they're from him, then they're the right decisions. A lot of times we'll just up and make a decision, and we'll say it's from God, or we'll think it's from God, and really it's just something that we had there, or something we heard that inspired a thought, and we act on it, and later reap the consequences of it. You realize, oh, that's not what God was telling me. That was never God at all in that. So I be to a point to where I look to hear from him before I make decisions, especially a lot of the tough decisions that I struggle with, and just know that I'm making the right decisions because that's what God would want me to do, rather it just be my flesh or, even my spirit, but I want it to be God and him telling me to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, seek him first. Yes.
In all things.
I'm gonna say what my goals are, and I'm really focusing on 2 spiritual goals. One being prayer, a stronger prayer life, a closer walk with God, and the second being just really in tune worship moments with throughout the day. We do a lot of prayer. We go to God with our requests and supplication, but I think it's also good, especially as a mother, to model what worship looks like, and how all of that ties together. So that's something that I really want I need more of in 2024. Definitely to steal away and just be with God. And because being a mom, being a businesswoman, being involved in community and politically, it's very, very small moments I get sometimes to just steal away. But I will put in that effort to do that, and to do more of that in 2024, and see what those results will be, because I know they're going to be great. And like you said, Lady D, 2024 is feeling like it's going to be a paradigm shift. It feels like something I no man knows, but it feels like there is something waiting for the people of God in 2024. And so we need to get prepared. We need to learn, grab that spirit of discernment. We need to pray, stay prayed up, but also worship in advance and praise God in advance for what he's about to do. And so those are the 2 things that I really want to focus on, just give God more of me in 2024.
Girl, you got me over here. Listen. That felt so good. If y'all didn't feel the shift, just as she was speaking on that, like that in itself, you manifesting already, and then you extended the goal to say to give more of myself in 2024. Wow. What an expectation, right? So I look, for me, there's a couple of things that I really want to focus on spiritually, and one of them I've already started doing, and I really want to focus in on my commitment to God as his partner. I really enjoy the benefits of and the fruits of being in partnership with God. And it truly is an expectation, by the way. As it says in Philippians 2:12-13, it talks about God lays the responsibility upon us to work in partnership with him as he works with and in us. And so for me, partnership looks like, okay, God, what we doing today? Okay, God, how we handling this today? And it's a we factor, right? You know, because there was a time when I was really preparing to be a wife, right? Now, y'all know, sidebar, don't judge me. Y'all know I struggle with that space. All right, I'm just saying. But I know that ultimately that's what God wants from me. And so in that, I said, well, God, I've never seen that truly be modeled. No one's really poured that into me. I don't know how to be a wife. And so I said, God, can you prepare me to be a wife? And in that, ladies, I worked on that all year long here in 2023. God was preparing me, right? He was helping me to submit, helping me to understand submission, things of that nature. That's just an example. And then it shifted, ladies. And I was like, wow, wait a minute. It starts with simple things like saying we versus I. Mm-hmm. Come on, somebody. That's a game changer right there. Yes, we and us, right? And then what happened is it shifted to my we and us in terms of God. God, what are we doing today? God, how are we going to handle these bills? Is this long list, might I add, of bills, right? Oh, and sorry, and God, by the way, Christmas is here, and by the way, this is due, right? And it's always a partnership conversation with God in terms of we and us, and that I'm not alone in this, right? I'm not alone in this. And so that's something that I want to work on. The other thing I want to work on is doing everything in love, showing more love, giving more love, right? Now, I consider myself to be fairly nurturing. I say fair, right? I struggle with physical affection and hugs and all that stuff. But I'm a ride now. I'm a ride for you. I'm a reliable friend. That I can do. But what I really want to focus on is truly doing things in love, just as Christ would, right? And so in Corinthians, it's Corinthians 1, and it's 16. It says 16:14. Let all your things be done with charity. Let all your things be done with charity. And it goes on to say, and do everything with love. And so those will definitely be some things that I'll focus on. Again, it's about the willingness, right? And have a willing heart, meaning don't do anything grudgingly. And if you don't feel like doing it, Ivy, then don't do it, honey, because it's not coming from a willing place, and it's not coming from ultimately a loving place. Mm-hmm. So, that's me struggling and getting out of this whole bondage of obligation, or this bondage of not wanting to hurt other people's feelings, all that kind of stuff. And so it's really a challenge for me to really do things in love and from a willing space, right? And that goes back to the partnership with God. Is this something you want me to do? Is this something you want me to give? You know what I'm saying? Is this somewhere you want me to go with old girl? You know what I'm saying? So, right. And just understanding that if it is grudgingly, then really tapping in and going back to that whole conversation with God in terms of if that's even what I'm supposed to be doing.
I think we all kind of got a common theme, because I know for me and my goals, I look to Proverbs 3 and 5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. That is normally my go-to, is to lean on my understanding. So for my spiritual goals, one of them is I want to do weekly and daily devotionals, because I don't do that. I hop up and I go. And so I want to slow down, take a moment, and actually take that time with God so I can give as well. Mm-hmm. My second goal, y'all know he ain't through with me yet, is to no longer be a bedside Baptist.
I still think.
You know, it became famous in COVID. You know, Bedside Baptist was famous in COVID. You know, I know when it's gonna come on. I know exactly how. Just sit up in the bed, cut the TV on, and watch my service. Yes. So I want to get out the bed and go to church because I get up in the morning. I go to work like I'm supposed to. I be there on time. Yep. If it's something happening on Saturday, I'm gonna make sure I'm there 20 minutes before it begins. So on Sunday, I want to make sure I get up and go to church and stop at Bedside Baptist.
Davita, don't be over there judging Melonie now. I see your judging eyes.
I'm not judging. I've heard like virtual warrior. I've just never heard Bedside Baptist.
Judge your cousin. As I said, judge your cousin. I'm a Bedside Baptist. You know, I got my doctorate in Bedside Baptist. Like, I got it down to a science. Even sometimes I go to 2 services.
on the bedside.
On the bedside, but she's showing out.
So, oh, Lord.
With the music.
Right. So I guess you in the bed, so you put in some effort, so he was meeting you there too, so it's okay. But
we just need a little more. We just need a little more effort to just get out the bed and to the fellowship. We just need a little more.
Like I said, I'm 2024. I'm no longer gonna be this Bedside Baptist. I'm gonna go. I want to visit more churches as well, but this is crazy now. If I go to church, I want to go 8:00 in the morning, y'all. Like, I want the 8:00 service.
I like the early service too. I got you.
Watch the service.
Yeah.
I won't be there 11 o'clock.
Right. It takes away from your day though when you go that late too. So we understand. Yeah, we ain't mad at you, sis. But you know, it's amazing, ladies, right? How many people, you know, Mel said she was already there. So, you know, she was practically the founder, you know what I'm saying, of Bedside Baptist. But it's amazing. Look, you're not alone. A lot of people joined you in the midst of the pandemic. A lot of people have not returned to face-to-face in terms of serving. And so while we're not knocking that, not at all, like Crystal said, God gonna meet you wherever you are. But we do commend you for your goal to actually go back in. And like Davita said, you know, fellowship, you know, with 2 or more gather. You know what I'm saying? You know, so yeah. So again, I just wanted to denote that you're definitely not by yourself, and how many of us, I mean, as a matter of fact, ladies, I still see, first of all, there's still a lot of streaming of church services online, right? Y'all see that? And then a lot of them have not returned to face-to-face for Bible studies. So they still do their weekly Bible studies virtually. They're not face-to-face at all. Even if they do face-to-face on Sunday for Sunday service, they will still host their Bible study virtually. I just think that they see more of an increase in participation and attendance that way. You know, for those that are near or far are able to participate. And so it's just definitely a new trend, and that I don't think is going away anytime soon.
Yeah, that applies to work and everything. You see a lot of jobs letting people work. You know, people are able to save as far as, you know, the money to keep the building up and all that. That's money that they can save and use towards other things. So I get it. I definitely see both ways. But this is a new trend, and this is like our new generation. They need everything right there. So sometimes Bedside Baptist is right there in the microwave for them. They can just turn on that TV or get on that live show, and you know, they can tune in and tap in right wherever they are. They don't have to go and be on other people because and I'm not embarrassed to say this, sometimes going to the church, I don't care how focused you are, all these tangents that go on around you can sometimes be a distraction.
Ooh, that's true. That's true.
Or I feel like a lot of people work more so now on that one-on-one relationship that don't maybe go as the ones that do a lot of streaming.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the one-on-one is critical for you to establish specific goals for yourself, and it's critical to be alone during that time so that you can clear out those distractions. And then when you're ready, right, to the point where you're able to block out those distractions, right? And have your own discernment, even when certain things are said that may not be in alignment with you. You're stronger now. You're stronger because we're not supposed to stay babes forever, you know. So I think that's very necessary, Crystal, that sometimes you got to fall back and it's okay, right?
Yep.
And then come back into the fold when you're ready to do so. So that's a good point. I love that. Well, listen, this has been an amazing conversation. We've shared some great tips. I'm definitely fired up and ready to go. Y'all got me going, got my wheels turning, and you definitely have really inspired me from tonight's segment. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So any final thoughts from you all as it pertains to giving more, doing more in 2024?
Coach, I just wanted to say that when it pertains to doing more and giving more of ourselves, our time, giving more of a listening ear, when setting our goals, being intentional with those goals, putting forth the effort. When I think about effort in order to get results, I really think about what Jesus did when he went and found his disciples. I mean, he did, and Melonie, I'm not coming for you. When he called his disciples, he told them to follow me. He didn't say just pray. He didn't say just praise. He didn't say just listen to me. He said good. Drop your nets, leave your collection table, leave your house, leave your family. I want more. I require more from you as my disciples. And I go to Ephesians 3:20, and I read that scripture, and it really speaks to me when it comes to when he's talking about more as well. He says, now unto him that is able to do exceedingly, meaning more abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. That power that worketh in him worketh in us. So he's already letting us know he can do more than we can even think. So of course he's going to expect us to do more as he gives us more. Just like Luke 12:48 says, to whom much is given, much is required. Requiring more of us, the more he gives to us. So for me to put in the effort, to be intentional, to seek him first in all things, to listen to his voice when he speaks to me, so that we can be in partnership as we walk through this life. I think that is, we can do more than that. We're expected to do that. So just me doing more prayer, more listening, more love, being more willing to do what God has asked us to do. That's what we need to focus on in 2024.
Listen. If you didn't catch that, I don't know. Maybe you trying to multitask while you listening to this, because you definitely should have got something up out of that. You should be definitely fired up, stirred up, ignited, and ready to take off in 2024. We thank you all for listening to our show. We thank you for following us. And if you're new to our fan base, we encourage you to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Her Voice Podcast. Listen, as always, we encourage you to be bold, be intentional, and as always, be inspired. Signing off, Coach Ivy.